Welcome everyone to Module 1 of the Balance and Shine coaching method. This coaching method is going to have 6 modules that are going to correspond directly to the Balance and Shine outlines and handouts. It's designed to give you the training and the method to be able to take your clients from point A, where they're calling you, they're coming to see you because they would like a desired result or to eradicate symptoms that have become too much for them to tolerate, all the way through their journey into many of the same obstacles and challenges that we all face when helping clients. So I'm going to be giving you the methods in this method, ways to be able to help your clients through their journey, through their obstacles, all the way through the end to their desired result, and on the way, really being able to facilitate more joy, more lightness, more excitement, more capacity to be able to help more people on their journeys. And that's what this is all about, is really having that method in your back pocket and the handouts to be able to help your clients in a way that is a win-win for both you and for them. So let's go ahead and get started. Module 1 is about a successful start. It is about setting up the container that you're going to work with your clients in for the duration of their time with you. So Module 1, or a successful start rather, is a very important piece so that clients know what it looks like and feels like to work with you. Oftentimes, clients assume that working on their health is hard or there's going to be struggle. And I'm not saying that there aren't times where there might be, but painting a picture and a vision and evoking the opportunity to perceive working on their health as a positive experience can really make a really big difference. So let's go ahead and get started. Module 1 teaching points. This is about creating authentic connection and trust through rapport building. We're also going to talk about the importance of entering the client's world, seeing their perspectives, values, wants, and needs. We're going to be looking, and a lot of you do this so well already, of really standing in your client's shoes and seeing things how they see them. Helping the client not only feel heard, but also understood and that they really matter. There's a difference between hearing your client, being present, and really having your client feel that you get them. And we'll also talk about managing your own energy and emotions in the session. So being mindful in sessions on your own feelings. Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel like you wish this client would just follow through? Do you feel like this client isn't a match for you? There are all kinds of things that come up for us as practitioners in sessions that affect how we communicate. So we're going to start by talking about rapport. Rapport is more important than any assessment you offer, any tests you offer. It is number 1. So it's the most important step of a client, practitioner, or consultant relationship. It's about building trust, connection, and it sets you up for healthy and direct communication. It creates positive feelings, and it creates a space for clients to be heard and listened to and understood. Every session is an opportunity for you to build rapport with your clients. An important thing to remember as you're facilitating the content in Balance and Shine. Also, it's a learned skill. Sometimes we feel like, certain people just naturally build rapport well. We call them, those are the kind of, good with people kind of people. But there are things that I'm going to be sharing with you that are a skill set that can really help you if you don't feel like that's you, or even if you do feel like that's you. Sharing some of these skills like mirroring and matching and active listening to really help build that connection. So rapport builds trust. People want to buy from and work with people that they trust, right? So building rapport with clients is a way of deeply respecting, appreciating, and connecting to who they uniquely are as a human being. We don't make assumptions about the person in front of us. We build rapport and we listen and we notice and we listen to what's also not being said. Trust is the foundation of a successful relationship and communication with your client. Oftentimes, when there's breakdown in sessions or there's breakdown with clients, it's because trust in some way has been broken, or the container that you are working in with your clients, the experience of working with your clients is not flexible. And so think about somebody in your life that you really, truly trust. They're always there for you, unconditionally. They tell you the truth. You can count on them. So ask yourself, what can your clients count on you for? And I want to caution you or invite you to think about always providing the right information and the right protocol is really not what we're looking for. They can count on you to be there no matter what. They can come as they are. They can count on you to give them positive feedback, forward-moving feedback. They can count on you to be able to support them when things aren't going well. That's a flexible container. A flexible container builds trust. A lot of times we feel like a flexible container is possibly weak, or we have our agenda and we really wish that it was a linear process that our clients would go through. But change is a stop and start process. So it needs flexibility in order to build that trust. So rapport robbers. These are things that break rapport. Feeling judged or wrong, right? That invites our clients to look away, to move away from us. Not feeling understood. Any kind of inauthentic connection, and it can take time to really find our authentic practitioner selves. And sometimes we will emulate or think we're supposed to be a certain way in sessions, and clients can really feel that. Asking too many questions too soon or giving too much information without the rapport will actually do the opposite. It will push clients away. It'll overwhelm them. So ways to build rapport, build trust, build connection is number one, to genuinely care. And I say that just with a little bit of giggle because I know that you do. Absolutely. To be present without worrying if you know enough or are getting it right. Discover common ground. Now, chances are you have paperwork on your clients before they come in. You may have even had a conversation with them or noticed that they've got small children just like you, or they're also struggling with something that you've also struggled and overcome. So discovering common ground, letting them know that you see that part of them, absolutely. Mirror and matching, which we're going to get into. Pace, and lead with clients. So being able to stay at your client's pace, and then also giving yourself the freedom to lead when you have the window to do so. and be willing to give and receive feedback during the coaching relationship. Okay, that builds rapport, that builds trust. So let's talk about genuinely caring. So even the most empathetic and well-meaning practitioners and consultants can sometimes get overly focused on fixing, and it can accidentally be overwhelming for the client. We feel like our job is to essentially solve the problem, solve the symptom that our client is coming to us with. And it absolutely is. It's also being wise enough and bringing out the part of you that really knows that this person is so much more than their symptoms. So taking time to take in and notice who your client is aside from their paperwork really matters and will serve you in every session, as well as take the pressure off. Staying present. So sometimes we jump to what we're going to do in our head or worry about getting the information right. Always leave a space in sessions for clients to share what's alive for them in this moment. We all have things that are alive in us in every moment. So for perhaps on some days, we're feeling overwhelmed about a certain thing. The next day, it might be something else. The third day, we may be really focused on, eating well and going to the store and meal prepping. What's alive for your client in that moment? That gets to be acknowledged. So notice when any anxious or other emotions come up for you in sessions. It's easy to feel anxious and want to have all the answers, but it takes us out of the session and from being present. This does take practice. I want to pause for a second about these first two items. They may not seem like that big of a deal, like genuinely care, stay present, okay, I got it. A lot of you are still defining and sharpening your niche and who it is that you serve. In addition, when you can master fully being present and listening and knowing that you are enough, the niche part becomes less important. And oftentimes it'll come to you a lot easier because you'll know who you're speaking to, for example, not just the symptoms. So common ground, finding ways and connections between you and your client. You can ask about anything on their paperwork or mention any connection that you see between you. And now we're going to jump into mirroring and matching. So mirroring and matching is a technique taught in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and rooted and created from the work of late psychologist Milton Erickson. So Milton Erickson was a really brilliant psychologist. I highly encourage you to look up his story, even on just Wikipedia. But he was a medical doctor, a psychologist, a hypnotherapist, and he was really a master at connecting to people and connecting to their subconscious mind. So mirror and matching is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's being a mirror of your client's actions, behaviors, breathing, gestures, and it's not copying them like you are a mime, but it's being conscious of who your client is and how they show up and how they speak and how quickly they speak. It is very, very effective at building rapport. So it's founded on the idea that people feel most connected and understood by other people who are like them, who behave and speak like them. So this is by Tony Robbins. People like people who are like themselves or how they would like them to be. So people want to take Again, this is all about building trust. This is not about necessarily, trying to get them to do something, but it's just about building a container for trust. So what that means is, so mirroring, getting into the details, is a simultaneous copying or shortly after or reflecting of behaviors, tones, breathing, facial expressions, gestures, volume, speed of speech. So back to clients to create that subconscious connection. So it's just like being in a mirror. So for example, if your clients have their arms crossed and their back and they're, feeling tight, right? Feeling tight. A lot of new clients will come in feeling very tight, or they feel tight over the phone. It's not the time to be, really big, right? It's to notice, like, for example, if your clients have their arms folded, is for you to meet them where they are. Our clients come to us in all different spaces, all different emotional states, all different wants, needs, desires, backgrounds, cultures, is to really notice what that's like. If you have a woman who's, really in her, is very quiet or very mousy, then that's an invitation for you to lean in. If she's leaning in here, that's an invitation for you to lean in too, is to create that space and to let her know, again, subconsciously, that you're here for her, that you see her, that you get her. Okay? So again, that tight client who has their arms crossed is for you to cross your arms too and say, yeah, this has been really hard for you. I get you. I see it. For you to match them. Alternatively, if you have a client that's very high energy and is is that you match them. Now, some people at first might feel like this is inauthentic. What? We're just matching them? It doesn't even, it's almost like that would be something that you would do. And I encourage you to try it in your personal life, is to allow yourself to be in sync with another human being. It could be a friend, it could be your partner, because certainly this can also really be a life skill. So mirroring, so there's also a point I want to make, which is you want to be discerning. So again, you're not being a mime and you're allowing it to be discreet and for you to essentially follow the energy of your client. Okay. That's what mirroring is. I'm going to demonstrate this because a lot of you work on the phone or on video and not in person. It doesn't matter. It can be done over the phone in any of those scenarios. So breathing is a really big one. Are your clients breathing? Are they breathing really fast? Is to really notice those patterns. Matching is almost the same thing as mirroring. It's delayed and it's less specific, and it's replicating another person's movements exactly as they are. For the sake of the depth of how I am offering this to you, mirror and matching are pretty much similar enough, but it's essentially reflecting back their behaviors and their ways, their physical ways of being in order to connect with them. So it creates rapport easier and so much faster versus slow or not at all. So think about your two best friends and what it looks like for them to hang out together, how they have similar mannerisms, right? They're in rapport with each other. If you ever see two friends leaning in together or two people that know each other well that are at dinner. I know my daughter and her best friend are 11, and I can just see so much of each other in each of them just because they spend so much time together. So it is powerful, and I encourage you to really try that. I will be demonstrating on what that looks like on the call, on the live Q&A call. You'll notice me doing it. And again, it's just a way of connecting and allowing myself to, be in the shoes of the person that's in front of me that I'm committed to helping. Okay. So ways to, for mirror and matching, what you can notice is breathing. Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it loud? Are there sighs? So your clients may sigh. You can sigh too to meet them. That's a big one. So are they breathing at all? Okay. So if they're not breathing at all and they're holding their breath, encourage them to breathe, which also brings me to the point of if your client is doing any kind of negative behavior or something that is like truly you wouldn't want to emulate or connect with, you obviously wouldn't want to copy that. That's really less of a concern for what we do as nutritional therapists, but I do want to point that out there. So if your client goes into a negative downward spiral, it's not the time to go with them. You do want to hold space where you are. So voice, is it loud? Is it soft? It doesn't feel good to have someone loud and energetic when you're feeling nervous. Okay. Again, some of these things are very obvious and very natural for you, but sometimes they're not. So if you're very introverted and you're very quiet and you have a really big, loud, overwhelming client, then I would encourage you to play with meeting them, allowing yourself to connect with them in the spirit of helping them. I work with a lot of newer practitioners and consultants, and oftentimes that does come with the territory of having people in your space as clients that are very different than you. And mastering being able to help different types of people in a way that's light and easy is something that will really catapult you in your practice. Posture. So again, I already mentioned this. Are they closed? Are they sitting away? Are they opening up? Are they turning to you? Just noticing. Also, this is part of the noticing, not so much part of mirror and matching their beliefs and their values. So it's really important because you can notice things that they say at the very beginning of the relationship that might lend themselves to how they are viewing this journey with you. Sometimes clients even show up resentful that they have to be there in the first place. The I don't have time for this client. So just noticing where their come from is. So you're listening so much and looking at those, again, subconscious clues to be able to form an impression. So mirror and matching also can look like clients laughing and you laughing too, clients crossing their arms and you doing the same, clients feeling emotional, quiet, and slowed speech and you matching your words to those spaces. Clients feeling frustrated and speaking fast and you speaking back their frustrations, making them feel validated. It's done in a way that's respectful and not condescending. So mirror and matching works best when practiced and developed into a habit, so it happens without having to consciously think about it. Now let's talk about pacing in sessions. The client and you will take turns with the pace in sessions. If you've ever had a client hijack the session or ask a million questions where you didn't feel like you got to teach or do any of the things that you had planned, understanding pacing will really, really help. Pacing also is directly related to, again, your presence and your own mindset in the session, how you're feeling personally in the session. If you're feeling, this is another one to notice, that the session is getting away from you, that oftentimes generates a negative feeling or a negative emotion. Okay, so something to notice. Pacing with your clients and where they are, and then looking for the opportunity to lead. So this may be that your client is going 1,000,000 miles a minute, right? And noticing that you're having dialogue, you're answering questions, and then you're able to say, hey, let's pause here for a minute. I have something else that I'd like to share with you. So you're taking the lead. understanding and knowing how to take the lead will help your sessions flow a lot better. Also, sometimes clients like to talk slow, and sometimes clients definitely like to talk fast, and you'll get to know your clients and their personalities and how they communicate as you work with them in those first couple sessions. So again, if your clients speak very fast and are even a little bit on the manic side and asking a million questions, when you have the window, hey, let's pause here for a second, you can take the lead on the pacing. So not only on the session, but you can slow things down through your speech a little bit. Okay? When you're in rapport with clients, they will meet you there. So we're not therapists or coaches. This piece is very important in helping clients in their check-in and follow-up sessions. Okay? Active listening. One of the most crucial skills you can have as a holistic practitioner. The bigger space you can hold to listen, the more rapport that you will have. I do see people really, and practitioners, whether massage therapists or nutritional therapists, coaches, who are very skilled at active listening, but not so skilled at building rapport with people. Okay? Active listening becomes a lot more effective when you're able to build rapport first. Okay? So what active listening is being present, is being able to listen, and then without judgment or without summing any, without entering any of your own opinion, is just to repeat back to your clients or reflect back to them what they are saying. Largely valuable for all human beings. So it allows the client to feel heard and understood by someone who is neutral and non-judgmental. And you want that to really be the highlight of your prospective client's experience working with you. Is there a time to give feedback? We will be talking about this, where we're giving our direct, honest, authentic, expert feedback on what's working and what's not working with the client, so they can see. But when you're active listening and you're repeating back, which we're going to get into in a minute, clients often come to their own discoveries on their own if we just create space for that. Okay, so repeating back and restating exactly what your client has said to demonstrate to the client that they're being heard, to reflect back to them. A lot of times clients will say things and they won't even be clear that they've said the same thing 3 different ways, and repeating it back to them will go, yeah, you know what, this is really a problem for me. This eating at night is really a problem for me. Okay, so it's not you trying to always solve their problem. They will solve their own problems a lot of the time, often. So letting go of your need to fix will create space for actually deeper healing and lighter sessions and more responsibility on your client. So the client does not need to agree with you. You want to paraphrase as little as possible, although sometimes it just makes sense. So use as much of the client's words, their own verbiage, as much as possible. And you can always, start with, what I'm hearing you say is that you feel like eating the bag of popcorn every single night is really causing you a lot of stress. What I heard you say was you wish you could stop doing it, because if you could stop doing it, then you'd really be able to move forward on your health goals. I also heard you say that you really enjoy that time to yourself and eating the popcorn. Okay. And then you're waiting for that client to get back to you. Okay. So repeating back to what they say in sessions is very powerful. Allow silence. Be okay with empty space. People need time to process and work out what they are saying, or rephrase it if they're not expressing it effectively or truly. So sometimes you'll repeat back to people and they'll say, yes, that's exactly how I feel. And other times you'll repeat back to them through the active listening, and they'll say, no, that's not how I feel. Okay. And then they have a chance to correct it. So summarize your understanding. You can to check in anytime to see if you do comprehend what they're expressing. So if I understand correctly then, and then, it is okay, like I said before, to paraphrase sometimes. You all score really big points in communication if you use their words. If they say this sucks, say, yeah, this sucks. So reflecting back on them, what they are feeling. Okay. And that is, this seems really hard. So what are you noticing in them? This seems like it's feeling really hard on you, that you feel really frustrated, that you're feeling like you're just kind of done, that you feel defeated. Okay. All right. So feedback and clean communication from rapport. We're going to be getting into the details of this, of getting into the nitty-gritty of giving clients feedback. But it all really, your ability to be able to give your client feedback without firing them really comes to having rapport. When you have ample rapport with clients, you'll be able to communicate well and give appropriate feedback with permission, of course. So what that can look like, just to give you a preview of what's coming, is, yeah, I noticed that the last 2 sessions, you didn't follow through. Despite the fact that we went through the could do, the want to, the will do. You said you are 10 out of 10 committed on the scale. I gave you the support that you really requested would serve you best, and you still didn't follow through. Okay, and leaving space for that. So it's often the missing piece in sessions, and it all starts with rapport. So let's talk about what clients can expect. So pre-framing the experience of working with you, setting up the container. A lot of times this is presented in terms of boundaries and in terms of walls and in terms of, what's okay, what's not okay. And yes, that's so incredibly important. And what's even more important than that is to really frame, that's what a pre-frame is, what the process can look like of working with you. And the more explicit you can be about the process and about the coaching process, the more at ease your clients will be. Okay, so be explicit about it. Everything that's going to happen. From the times, that you're going to let them know, like, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes my clients miss their appointments because they didn't follow through. Sometimes my clients have really big obstacles to get through that they've never been able to dive into and get through before. And, part of this work is going into those obstacles and changing, finding the way that works for you to be able to change the behaviors that are holding you back. So pre-framing in the first session at the beginning of sessions can help put you in charge as well, put you in the driver's seat without feeling like, a lot of times we think being the expert and being in charge means knowing everything. That is not what it's about. It's about your ways of being. And what I mean by that is being confident, is really feeling like you've got this. And more importantly, feeling like it's okay when you don't got it, right? Because as you're learning, and if you're in that session, you're in your first 10 clients, or you're you haven't had 20 clients under your belt yet, being okay with not knowing everything and being relaxed enough to allow yourself to make some mistakes is really important. Yes. So let's talk about that client contract or pre-framing. So you can have your policies, your refund policy, you can have your how clients can connect and contact you. So they basically know all of these things up front. They're not wondering, they're not thinking it's okay to email you 20 times a week when it's not. And the contract will put them at ease because they'll know. And then also you'll pre-frame. And I highly suggest going over these in person with your clients at the beginning. So letting them know health is a practice. It's not a destination. Even though you have these things, even though you're having this digestive, you know, breakdown and you're having all this gas and it's really getting in your way of your life, or you're running to the bathroom, whatever it is, everything that we're going to be going through in this program and the protocol are really skills that you can use for life. Okay. So part of our work together is to develop that practice while reducing your health complaints. Okay. So it frames that this is not a quick fix or a stop-start process. However, side note, changes stop and start. It just is, right? So we're there to help them navigate. 2, while our sessions can be profound, the real work is in between sessions. The real work is in between sessions. So no putting away your notes for each session until we meet again. You'll be responsible for following through on your action steps, and I'll be holding you accountable and supporting you every step of the way. So it frames that they will be held high and accountable. 3, while I very much support a compassionate environment of meeting everyone where they are, you can count on me for honest feedback to make sure the protocol and plan offered is effective. Okay, so it frames that they'll be supported, and that you'll be consciously communicating about what's working and what's not working. 4, every health journey has obstacles and challenges, and yours are always welcome. Some of the most profound healing happens when these obstacles are worked through versus avoided. And in fact, in every session, I will be asking about obstacles and we'll be troubleshooting and moving through them together. So it frames that success is not about being perfect. Okay. 5, if you do fall off track, alternatively, you could say if when you fall off track or feel like you've fallen off track, I don't personally think there's any such thing, or something else isn't going right, do not cancel your appointment. Okay. It's the perfect time to lean into what's not working. 6 is staying committed is really important in the process. So even when things don't go right, you'll learn and then you'll recommit. There's no failure. You just learn. So it frames that your commitment, if your commitment wavers, the choice to recommit at any time is always there. 7, it's totally normal to feel worried, vulnerable, and nervous to begin with, and I'm here to support you. Notice I've said support you at least 3 times. 8, lastly, I invite you to begin open to this being a joyful discovery process. Even when I suggest giving up things you love, it's possible, I promise. So it frames like this can be fun, and there's a lot available to you here. Okay, so let's talk about staying emotionally intelligent in your sessions. Nervous, very normal in the beginning. Okay, annoyed, frustrated, exhausted, happy. Okay, our clients can feel our come-froms. And I also want to add that it's absolutely possible, and a lot of work I do with my private clients that are NTPs and NTCs is knowing and understanding that you can be in your joy and empathetic at the same time, and you can stay completely whole and complete in your sessions, and be in a space again where you're allowing yourself to stand in your client's shoes and see their world. It will help you be able to lead them in a way that's much more effective than leaving them on your own map, which oftentimes is where we get stuck. We want clients to be on our map and be where we've been. Also what not to say in sessions, why? Why makes them feel wrong. There is a time and place to be using why, but sometimes you probably don't do this, but once in a while, why did you do that? Makes them feel like we're almost reprimanding them. Okay. Everything will be okay. Sometimes we want to take away our client's pain, and that's not our responsibility to do that. So just letting clients be in their space, be in their experience. It's 100% okay for a client to feel however they want to feel in a session with you. We like to make ourselves more comfortable by telling our clients everything will be okay. And I encourage you to allow sessions to be uncomfortable if they need to be. It is in greatest service to the client. The next one is telling your clients what they should have done or should be doing unless you're clear that you're about to offer the protocol or go into that clinical portion of your session. What should you do, or what have you should be doing? Oh, it feels heavy, it doesn't feel good, and it's not effective. Okay. Again, back to pre-framing. Helps the client understand and form those positive feelings around working with you and gives them a glimpse of what to expect. It puts you in charge. And again, you can integrate it with your contract policies, and you can also read it aloud. So I just wanted to drive that one home, that pre-framing is something that you absolutely want to add 100%. I read you the 8 that come actually in the coaching guide. And it will make all the difference. So action items for this module will be to practice mirroring and matching in your everyday life and with clients. So practice active listening as well by reflecting back exactly what people are saying to you without trying to fix or solve the problem in the moment. Notice how this affects the interactions. So this is really fun, and any relationship that you have, whether it's friends or a partner, your kids, practicing mirror and matching and just getting into their space, especially if you have kids. This is so fun, is to, if you're, if I have a 6-year-old or almost 7-year-old, and just to get into her space and how she, is animated and, doing those same movements that she does, she just really delights her. So it's a great example of how she just feels my connection from just me doing that. Also, active listening, if you have a friend, is just to practice. They come to you and they say, hey, I'm really struggling with this. Is to just practice being present and reflecting back to them, saying exactly what they're saying back to you, not trying to fix anything, and leaving it at that. And just noticing like how that affects the interactions that you're having. Really, really, really powerful. So that is step 1, is building that trust and rapport and connection from the beginning. So I'm curious to hear in the Facebook group how you have noticed this is affecting some of your relationships and your interactions with clients. And that is it. So thank you for being a part of this. This is module 1 of the Balance and Shine coaching method, and I look forward to seeing you for module 2. Bye.